And, never sitting behind the prison wall that I would ever picture that on our Sundays that we would be led to quite of a discussion. When we first got our African American president and Barack Obama, I thought we were free. I
Mm,
was locked up behind the prison walls, and you probably say, well, just how naive could you be? That shows you the lack of information that is pumped to brothers and sisters that are locked behind prison walls. So their narrative becomes to be the television. That's their only way of substantially learning due to the fact that most publications are banned from prisons. What happened with Biana Biana Teller is a tragedy. You know, make it nothing other words can be expressed. It's a tragedy. It's something that should not have happened. It's something that the world has seen and they know it should not have happened. But for black and brown people, where's the justice? You know, all of a sudden they can remedy justice for themselves overnight. But we spend our entire lives trying to gain just an inch of fairness. And, being a juvenile and locked inside of an interrogation room and called a nigger boy and having my genitals grabbed and squeezed, you know, where were we? Where were people that called themselves human beings? Where was the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services that investigate claims of child abuse? Where were they for all of the young children that were victimized? And a lot of people don't clearly focus upon this. But this is our demand, and it must be our demand to be treated fair. You mean to tell me that wrongful convictions take decades to work out? So that means that the prisons are getting the best productive of the lives of men and women, despite the fact of letting them out. Shoot, you're old now. It's time when you're coming out of prison, most people in this world is retiring. You have no credit history. You have nothing to reflect that you even existed on the face of this earth. So, my stance is like what Aislinn and me and Aislinn is in Chicago. Stick it to these people and stick it to them exactly in the areas where they deserve. Because what we seen on January the 6th, had that been African Americans, black and brown people, just taking over the Capitol at that level, then what we would be witnessing right now is masses of funerals. That's what we would be witnessing. And the White House would probably just now start to cool off because of the bombings, because they would have bombed all of it to make sure that they killed us. That's what they tried to do to me at a young age. They locked me inside of the prison system. They called me mentally retarded. No witnesses, only a confession, and the confession made no common sense. But where's the integrity of our criminal justice system? Where's the integrity of our so called leaders? That's what we're missing. We in this country, we have layers and layers, if not decades and many centuries of different eras of bad politicians. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the layers and layers and layers and layers of just bad politicians who have mistreated us as a people. They have given us basically what people would call dong. And I hope you know what dong is. And they have called dong something great and something good, and that we are to sit in these conditions and we are to at least accept it. I don't support any of these politicians that ran for the president. I don't support most of our politicians due to the fact that most of them have evil sides. And the evil side is destructive to us as a people. I say it loud and clear. We need to jail the guilty cops. We need to take away qualified immunity out of the hands of officers that kill without any form of impunity. They don't care. They do it with a goal to lynch us. Then they laugh and then they giggle, and now there's a little old mother or a father who has to bury their child. This stuff is wrong. And I don't know why that there's not a even heavier outcry in dealing with the COVID problems behind the jails and the prisons. But we need to take a realistic look at this. This is ways to exterminate us, to kill us, to assassinate us. They knew that COVID would cause the mass destruction that it has created less far. The bottom line of it is that government as a whole, not just Trump alone, government as a whole, they ignored this. And I'm not by any means, stretch, or imagination in favor of anything that Donald Trump does. But in reality, the whole system dropped the ball. And as a result of dropping the ball, they think, well, $600 can sustain your life. $1,200 can sustain your life. $2,000. This is moot points when basically so many Americans are faced with being evicted. So many Americans have lost jobs. The prisons have decayed even more so, and it's going to remain that. There's no justice within our criminal justice system. That's just a form. And that form we have been fighting for many, many, many years of my life. Had it not been for my little old mother and teaming up with organizations in the city of Chicago and abroad, because Angela Davis was one of the first that stepped and attempted to free me in the early 80s. The bottom line of it is that we must keep our eyes on the prize, and the prize is victory. We want the cops that did this awful thing to Breonna Taylor and to all individuals across this globe to be held accountable. We don't want to be the ones to have to pay the Teller family. That police officer in his union, as well as his department, should pay those settlements. And I guarantee you, these things will cease due to the fact that the police departments across the nation wouldn't have no money to operate off of, and they would be forced to lay people off due to the fact that the money would come out of their budget and not out of the pockets of poor American people who can barely afford to even just pay their rent. This is wrong. But I stand with each and every one of you. I ask that you keep your eyes upon the fact that there's still 100 torture survivors still in prison under John Burge. And, you know, I asked each and every day, how can we have a government that confesses that we took people down to police stations and we tortured confessions out of them, but it's not good enough to release them out of prison and they have to beg their way. It's like going in front of master and saying, Master, uh, am I good enough now? Can you please let me out? Well, once you keep a person locked up for really over 10 years of their lives, their reality of society is shot. And so sad to say, people in society are the ones who now pry on them. The same people they're trying to help is the same ones trying to pry, due to the fact that, guess what? The poverty levels today is so great. People are hurting. So talking about the schemes ain't even begin yet, due to the fact that people have to survive. But I am definitely on board with this coalition and its call to hold these police officers accountable. And not only the police officers, but these mayors must be held accountable as well for appointing these criminals to these positions. Thank you.